A boomer saved my life. You don't hear people say that nowadays. We're taught to hate our elders. But I have to tell you, I'm Alex, and a boomer saved my life. Up until a few months ago, in fact, all of last year, I had the wrong idea about life. I thought I was smarter than everyone else. I had been told and taught that education in these fields like psychology or underwater basket weaving, as people say as a joke usually, were going to save me. That I was going to do well in life by going to school, getting a useless degree, which I now recognize. And now I have a pile of debt and a whole lot of time wasted and no job up until a few weeks ago because I got pushed out of my last job for not fitting in with the company culture. And today I'm here to tell you that a boomer saved my life. And quite honestly, the boomers who get a lot of hate were right about everything. I'm a Zoomer. I'm a 27-year-old guy. A lot of people don't like to admit when they're wrong, and that's just an ego thing. That's just how we are. But I'm ready to admit it. I don't have any problem admitting it. I was wrong, and the boomers were right. I should have showed more respect for my elders. If I had followed everything that they had said to a T, I would be further ahead. But we can't cry over spilt milk, all right? The reason I say a boomer saved my life is that last year I was really spiraling. I wasn't doing super well. And really frustrated. My master's degree and all this had become useless. I really should have studied something that mattered, but I kept hearing boomers for years tell me, it's not over. You could go study the trades. You could become a tradesman. And for a long time, I used to look down on that. I was like, why would I do that? I went to school and everything. But I finally took the boomer advice. And I'm not even kidding. I showed up to a mechanic shop and I met this boomer who ended up hiring me, gave him a firm handshake, brought my CV, and he looked at it and he said, why are you here? You have a degree that you have no experience. You have a degree that has nothing to do with this. Why are you here? And I said, I'm here because I need you, sir, to teach me how to do life. Everything that I've done up until now, listening to my peers, this guy's been fixing cars for decades, probably since Nixon was president, right? And he gave me a shot, and this boomer is helping me get my life back on track. And I'm sure the reason I'm making this video and this whole channel is because I, Alex, am sure that this works for everything, man. I don't think they were wrong about a single thing. I think that maybe we were being just stubborn and annoying, and these boomers were right. They were right. I'm going to start applying more of this practical advice they've given. Back before I used to hear, I can't get a job if I just walk on a parking lot or something, selling cars. Yes, you can, actually. The boomers were right. They were right. They told us that we should focus on education, but they didn't mean what we ended up doing. We ended up going in there and studying feminism and sociology. What they meant was, go in there and become an engineer. And we didn't listen. And we got a whole lot of debt because we didn't have any gumption. No one wanted to work during school. Everyone wanted to just use student loans to have some fun. And everyone got screwed doing that. And at the end of the day, now, whether it's Tucker Carlson or the liberals, everyone is telling you, it's the boomers' fault that everything is bad. Actually, I think it's time we take some responsibility and we recognize that it can be our fault as well. And I'm just a young guy who's trying to get ahead. And I got tired of listening to people my age or not boomers, these people who are just, like a Gen Xer or a millennial who's trying to tell me that don't worry, just go get a PhD in gender studies and you're gonna be rich. And that wasn't true. The boomers were right. Once again, maybe we should be welding and doing this. A lot of people, there's a shortage of these jobs, man. People don't want to do them, this manual labor. And it's because the boomers, you can say anything you want about them, but one thing that they do have is that they're hardworking, they are self-sacrificing, and they have a whole lot of gumption, which is something that's lacking these days in young people. You are not willing to put off any sense of, you can't have any delayed gratification. Everyone under the age of 40, they want everything right then and right now. And boomers, seriously, man, the reason they're rich, the reason they're doing well, that you complain, oh, they're on cruises, they have houses, is because they put money aside. They did savings. They were smart. They were smarter. They were trying to plan for the future. That's why you even exist. And now all you can sit there is complain. That's not me. I am becoming someone with gumption. I am becoming someone who's trying to take the advice of these boomers and actually implement it. And so far, it's great. This uniform's pretty new, but he paid for it for me. He got me this nice little name tag. I'm sure this whole thing cost him like $150. He only took out like $50 from my check for this, okay? Obviously, he can't buy it for free. It's a tough economy, okay? And now I have this on. Got to do a couple of things that are easy. I changed a Corolla spark plug the other day, and I just want to do this channel because I want to talk to you guys about this. I want to document this journey of, these youngins like me today. They use this word maxing. What if we actually started to boomer max, to max as boomers? Maybe it can help us get ahead. You've tried everything else. You might as well actually sit back and listen to your elders. This is the only society where people are mean to their elders. You don't see Chinese people doing this. You don't see Europeans doing this. You don't see Africans. Only Americans are mistreating their elders like this. So this is the start of the channel. I hope to update you guys on a little bit of my background as well as how this goes. And if you're a boomer watching, please, I don't even want you to subscribe just because it'll help the channel grow. I want everyone to subscribe because I think young people need to hear this message. But if you're a boomer, please subscribe and leave a comment, because I'm literally starting to write down all of the boomer advice that I kept dismissing, because so far it's working. So I appreciate everyone tuning in, and join us here at Alex the Mechanic as we try to boomer max and improve our lives. Thank you.